blood, chaos, legends colliding. The moment the WWE Universe has been waiting for, the moment that sent shockwaves through every wrestling fan on this planet happened, and you need to hear what went down at Madison Square Garden when two of the most destructive forces in sports entertainment history came face to face after years of silence. This isn't just another segment, this isn't just another Raw. This is the kind of night that changes everything, the kind of night that makes you remember exactly where you were when it happened. Before we dive into the absolute madness that unfolded, if you're new to SLAMZONE, I need you to know something. This channel, this family we're building, it's not just about watching wrestling, it's about feeling it. It's about understanding the stories, the emotions, the sacrifices these athletes make every single week. And right now, I'm asking you to be part of something special. Hit that subscribe button. Not for me, but for yourself. Because you deserve to be part of a community that gets it. A community that understands why we do this. Why we stay up late, why we argue with our friends, why we can't look away. Smash that notification bell because I promise you, what's coming on this channel is going to blow your mind. And drop a comment below, tell me what you think about what happened. Tell me your predictions. Tell me your fears. Because we're in this together, and your voice matters here at SLAMZONE. Now, let's talk about what happened on November 17, 2025, inside the most famous arena in the world. The air inside Madison Square Garden was electric. You could feel it through the screen, you could see it in the eyes of every single person in that crowd. This was supposed to be John Cena's night, his final appearance on Raw, his farewell tour continuing in the cathedral of professional wrestling. And Cena delivered, he gave us everything we expected and more. But nobody, and I mean nobody, was prepared for what was about to happen in the closing moments of that broadcast. The stage was set for a War Games confrontation. Survivor Series was just days away. Team Vision, led by the man who orchestrated one of the most shocking betrayals in modern WWE history, Paul Heyman, stood in the ring. Braun Breaker, the human wrecking ball, the future of dominance, stood there with that intensity in his eyes. Bronson Reed, 265 pounds of pure destructive power, the man who can literally crush your dreams and your ribcage with a single tsunami splash. Drew McIntyre, the Scottish warrior, the man who's been through hell and back, who's clawed his way to the top multiple times, standing there with rage in his heart and vengeance on his mind. And Logan Paul, the most polarizing figure in WWE, the social media megastar who proved all the doubters wrong, who proved he belongs in that ring with the best in the world. These four men, this collection of raw talent and destructive capability, they stood united. But something was missing. Heyman had promised throughout the night that the fifth member of Team Vision would be someone epic, someone game-changing. The anticipation was killing everyone. Then, from the crowd, you heard it. The roar. The absolute eruption of noise that can only mean one thing, the babyfaces were coming. CM Punk, the best in the world, the man who changed the culture of professional wrestling, the voice of the voiceless, the straight-edge superstar, the current champion who carries the hopes of millions on his shoulders. He walked through that crowd like a man on a mission. His eyes focused, his jaw clenched, knowing what was waiting for him in that ring. Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, the man who finished his story, the man who finally conquered the mountain and became the undisputed WWE champion, walking with that championship glistening on his shoulder. The weight of expectation, the weight of being the face of an entire brand, it's all there in his stride. This man has been through family drama, through personal hell, through injuries and setbacks, and he's still standing, still fighting, still believing. And then, Jimmy and GUSO, the Usos, the greatest tag team of this generation, maybe of all time. These twins, these brothers, they emerged from different sections of the crowd, and the garden absolutely lost their minds. The YEET chants echoing through the rafters, the energy building with every step they took toward that ring. These men have held tag team gold more times than most wrestlers have had matches. They know what it means to be in a war. They know what it means to sacrifice everything for your family, for your legacy. The five babyfaces surrounded the ring. This was it. This was the moment where everything would explode. You could see it in the eyes of every single person in that building. The heels in the ring, looking around, realizing they were outnumbered, but not backing down, not showing fear. Because these men don't know what fear means. Then it happened. The brawl broke out like a dam bursting. Fists flying, bodies colliding, the sound of impact echoing through Madison Square Garden like thunder. Punk went right after Heyman's men with that fire, that intensity that made him a legend. Rhodes was throwing strikes with precision, every punch calculated, every move purposeful. The Usos were working together like they have for their entire careers, the twin connection, that unspoken language that makes them so dangerous. For a moment, just a moment, it looked like the babyfaces had this under control. Punk had his hands on Paul, the man who betrayed him, the man who turned his back on him after everything they'd been through together. You could see the emotion on Punk's face, the anger, the betrayal, the desire for revenge. He was setting up for the GTS, the devastating move that's ended careers and changed destinies. And then the world stopped. That music hit. That music that's haunted opponents for over 2 decades. That music that makes grown men check over their shoulders. That music that represents pain, suffering, and absolute dominance. Brock Lesnar, the beast incarnate, the conqueror, the mayor of Suplex City, the most legitimate fighter in WWE history, the man who ended the streak, the man who's held every major championship you can imagine, the man who's made legends tap out, pass out, and quit. Brock Lesnar walked down that ramp with purpose. with that look in his eyes that says everything you need to know. This man doesn't care about your feelings. He doesn't care about your story. He doesn't care about your dreams. He's here to hurt people. He's here to dominate. He's here to destroy. The garden erupted. Not cheers. Not boos. Just pure noise. Pure shock. Pure awe at what they were witnessing. Lesnar had been gone since WrestlePalooza. He'd beaten John Cena and then vanished. Nobody knew when he'd return. Nobody knew what side he'd be on. But now, standing there in Madison Square Garden, it was crystal clear. Brock Lesnar was Team Vision's fifth man. Punk, to his credit, didn't hesitate. The best in the world charged at the beast incarnate. Courage? Absolutely. Smart? Absolutely not. Because what happened next was pure devastation. Lesnar caught Punk mid-charge and just tossed him aside like he weighed nothing. Like Punk was a child. Like all those years of experience, all the technical skill, all the championship pedigree meant absolutely nothing in the face of raw, primal power. Then Lesnar turned his attention to Cody Rhodes, the champion. The man who represents everything WWE stands for right now. And Lesnar didn't care. German suplex. That bridge. That impact. Rhodes crashed to the mat, and you could feel the air leave his body. Another German suplex. The crowd was in shock. The commentators were screaming. This was supposed to be a confrontation, a face-off, a stare-down. Instead, it became a massacre. Lesnar was tossing around the top champions of both brands like they were nothing. Two men who have main event WrestleMania, two men who have carried their brands on their backs, and Brock Lesnar made them look helpless. Made them look mortal. Made them look like they didn't belong in the same ring with him. The heels were celebrating. Heyman had that smile on his face, that knowing smile that says everything went according to plan. Breakker and Reed were pumped up, feeding off Lesnar's energy. McIntyre looked ready to join in the destruction. Logan Paul was soaking it all in, loving every second of the chaos. The babyface team was in shambles. Punk was down. Rhodes was down. The Usos were trying to regroup, but what could they do against this? Against Brock Lesnar running wild with nothing to stop him? And then, just when you thought it couldn't get any more insane, just when you thought this was the peak of the madness, just when everyone in that building and everyone watching at home thought they'd seen the biggest shock of the night, that tribal music hit. That sound that represents dominance, power, legacy, and family. That sound that's been the soundtrack to one of the greatest championship reigns in WWE history. That sound that makes opponents tremble and fans lose their absolute minds. Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, the head of the table, the OTC, the original tribal chief, the man who held the Universal Championship for over 1,200 days, the man who main event WrestleMania multiple times, the man who unified championships, the man who built an empire, the man who changed what it meant to be a champion in WWE. Roman Reigns walked out, and Madison Square Garden became unglued. The roof nearly came off the building. People were screaming, jumping, losing their minds at what they were seeing, because Roman had been gone. He'd been away from WWE television, and everyone wondered when he'd return, if he'd return, and most importantly, whose side he'd be on. Reigns walked down that ramp with that look. That focused, intense look that struck fear into opponents for years. He didn't run. He didn't rush. He walked like a man who owns everything in front of him. Like a man who's about to make a statement. Like a man who's about to change the game once again. Lesnar turned to face him. These two titans. These two legends. These two men who have defined WWE for the better part of the last decade, standing across from each other once again. The history between them is legendary. WrestleMania battles. SummerSlam wars. Championship matches that tore the house down. Matches that were brutal, physical, violent displays of two alpha males trying to prove who's the real top dog in WWE. The tension was suffocating. You could cut it with a knife. Everyone in that building knew what these two were capable of doing to each other. Everyone remembered the blood, the sweat, the carnage they'd created together in the past. And then Reigns struck first. Superman punch. That devastating right hand connected flush with Lesnar's jaw, and the beast incarnate stumbled back. The crowd went absolutely ballistic. Roman had come to even the odds. Roman had come to save his cousins, to stand with Punk and Rhodes, to be the hero this team needed. But Roman wasn't done. Not even close. Because Bronson Reed, that massive force of nature, tried to capitalize. Tried to blindside the tribal chief. Big mistake. Huge mistake. Because Roman saw him coming, caught him mid-attack, and speared him so hard they went crashing through the barricade at ringside. The sound of that impact echoed through the arena. Reed, all 265 pounds of him, demolished by the force of Roman's spear. The brawl that followed was absolute chaos. Security rushed in. Not just WWE security, but actual NYPD officers, trying to restore order to something that had gone completely off the rails. Both teams were throwing punches, grappling, fighting with everything they had. Heyman was trying to orchestrate his team's attack. Punk and Rhodes were back on their feet, re-energized by Roman's arrival, fighting back with renewed purpose. GUSO, according to some footage that surfaced later, was reportedly trying to hide behind a Prime bottle stand when Lesnar's music first hit, and honestly, who could blame him? When Brock Lesnar shows up, everyone's first instinct is to run. But once Roman evened the odds, once the OTC arrived, G found his courage again, found that warrior spirit that runs through the bloodline. Officers were trying to separate the two teams, but it was like trying to stop a hurricane. Raw went off the air with complete mayhem, with both teams brawling throughout the arena, with the WWE Universe on their feet, witnessing something they'll tell their grandchildren about. And if you're still watching this, if you've made it this far with me on SLAMZONE, I need you to do something for me right now. I need you to hit that like button. I need you to subscribe if you haven't already, because this is just the beginning of the story. War Games is coming at Survivor Series on November 29th in San Diego, and we're going to be breaking down every single angle, every single moment, every single prediction leading up to that event. This family we're building here at SLAMZONE, it's about more than just wrestling. It's about passion. It's about understanding the art form we all love. And I need you here with me. Share this video with your wrestling friends. Let them know what they're missing. Hit that notification bell so you never miss when we drop new content. Because trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming. But the story doesn't end with Raw going off the air in chaos. Oh no. Because after the cameras stopped rolling, after the broadcast ended, something else happened. Something that might be even more important than everything we just witnessed. CM Punk and Roman Reigns stood face to face. The two most alpha personalities in WWE. The two men who don't back down from anyone or anything. The two men who have massive egos, massive pride, and massive mistrust of each other. Because let's be real, the history between Punk and Roman isn't exactly friendly. Punk returned to WWE and had his issues with authority, with management, with the way things were being run. Roman has been the face of the company, the chosen one, the man WWE built everything around. Punk reportedly gave Roman a warning. He told the tribal chief that if Roman stabs him in the back, there will be consequences. You can imagine the intensity of that moment. Two men, both champions, both leaders of their respective brands, both warriors who refused to show weakness, standing there with their teams behind them, the tension thick enough to taste. And Roman's response? Legendary. Roman told Punk he doesn't stab people in the back. He doesn't have to. He'll look you in your eyes, and he'll put that knife right in your heart. Straight to the front. Man to man. No games. No deception. Just raw, honest confrontation. That's the kind of intensity we're dealing with here. That's the kind of psychological warfare that makes War Games so fascinating. Because yes, these five men are on the same team. Yes, they have a common enemy in Team Vision. But can they trust each other? Can Punk trust Roman after everything the tribal chief has done? Can Roman trust Punk, knowing the best in the world always has his own agenda? Can the Usos trust that their cousin won't turn on them like he has in the past? Can Rhodes trust any of them, knowing that allegiances in WWE change faster than the weather? These are the questions that make this War Games match so compelling. It's not just about 10 men fighting inside two rings surrounded by a steel cage. It's about ego. It's about pride. It's about trust. It's about family. It's about legacy. It's about proving you're the best when everything is on the line. Think about what's at stake here. On Team Punk's side, you have the current WWE champions. CM Punk and Cody Rhodes represent the present and future of WWE. They're the faces of Raw and SmackDown respectively. They're the men who are supposed to be untouchable, unbeatable, the standard bearers for excellence. But Brock Lesnar just tossed them around like they were nothing. That has to be eating at them. That has to fuel their desire for revenge, for redemption, for proving they belong at the top. The Usos, Jimmy and G, they're fighting for family. They're fighting alongside their cousin Roman, despite all the complicated history there. The manipulation, the mental abuse, the way Roman used them and controlled them during his tyrannical championship reign. But blood is thicker than water, and when their family is threatened, they stand together. That's the bloodline way. That's the Samoan warrior culture they were raised in. And Roman? What's driving the tribal chief? Is it redemption? Is it proving he's still the top guy? Is it protecting his cousins? Is it standing up to Paul Heyman, the man who managed him for years, who helped build him into the monster he became, but who ultimately betrayed him and aligned with Seth Rollins and the Vision? Roman's motivations are complex, layered, fascinating. He's not a simple good guy. He's a man with a massive ego, with a need to be recognized as the best, with a family legacy that weighs heavy on his shoulders. Now look at Team Vision. Paul Heyman, the genius manipulator, has assembled a team that on paper might be even more dangerous than Team Punk. Brock Lesnar alone is worth 3 normal wrestlers. The Beast Incarnate has proven time and time again that he can destroy anyone in his path. He's ended careers, ended streaks, ended dreams. And now he's aligned with Heyman again, the man who knows exactly how to weaponize Lesnar's destructive capabilities. Braun Breaker, many people call him the next Brock Lesnar. That freakish combination of size, speed, power, and intensity. He's a second-generation superstar with lineage that includes Scott Steiner and Rick Steiner, 2 of the most dominant wrestlers in history. Breaker has that same intensity, that same killer instinct. He's young, hungry, and desperate to prove he belongs at this level. Bronson Reed, the tsunami of destruction, has been on an absolute tear. He's been destroying everyone in his path, taking out legends and current stars alike. That tsunami splash from the top rope, 265 pounds crashing down on your chest, collapsing your lungs, breaking your will. Reed is a force of nature, and he's aligned with the right people. Drew McIntyre, the Scottish warrior, has been to hell and back in WWE. He was released, came back better than ever, became WWE champion, proved all the doubters wrong. But lately, things haven't gone his way. He's angry, bitter, dangerous. A wounded animal is the most dangerous kind, and McIntyre fits the description perfectly. He's fighting for respect, for recognition, for the opportunity to prove he should still be in the main event picture. And Logan Paul, love him or hate him, has proven he's a legitimate talent. The social media star who became a legitimate wrestler, who main event pay-per-views, who held championships, who proved he belongs in that ring with the best in the world. Paul brings a different energy, a different style, and massive mainstream attention to everything he's involved in. These 10 men are about to enter War Games. 2 rings. 1 massive steel cage surrounding both. No escape. No running. No hiding. Just war. Brutal, violent, career-altering war. Men will be thrown into steel. Bodies will crash through tables. Blood will be spilled. Careers might be ended. This is the kind of match where everything changes. And the psychological warfare has already begun. Lesnar destroyed Punk and Rhodes, planting seeds of doubt. Can they compete with that level of power? Roman made his statement by spearing Reed through the barricade and taking down Lesnar with the Superman punch, showing he's still the dominant force. But Roman and Punk's confrontation after the show revealed the cracks in their alliance. Can this team coexist long enough to survive War Games? The beauty of War Games is the unpredictability. The match structure itself creates drama. Men enter at timed intervals. Early advantages shift back and forth. The team that wins the advantage battle gets to enter their member first when both teams are full, creating a crucial 5-on-4 situation. Weapons are legal. Violence is encouraged. Chaos is guaranteed. WWE confirmed that both Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar will appear on next week's Raw in Oklahoma City, the go-home episode before Survivor Series. Can you imagine the tension? Can you imagine what might happen when these two teams are in the same building again? Will there be another massive brawl? Will we see more physical destruction? Will the psychological games intensify? What we witnessed at Madison Square Garden was just the opening salvo, just the first chapter in what's going to be an epic story. Lesnar's return changed everything. Roman's return balanced the scales. But the questions remain. The doubts persist. The tension builds. Will Punk and Roman be able to work together when it matters most? Can they put aside their egos, their mistrust, their history, for one night? Or will their team implode from the inside, giving Team Vision the advantage they need? Can Rhodes and Punk, both world champions, both supposed to be the best WWE has to offer, overcome the embarrassment of being ragdolled by Lesnar? Can they prove they belong at the top, or will Lesnar expose them as frauds? Will the Usos be able to keep up with the sheer power and violence of what's coming? These men are tag team specialists, masters of their craft, but War Games is a different animal entirely. Can they adapt? And what about Team Vision? Can Heyman keep his team focused and united? Can he control Lesnar, or will the Beast Incarnate do whatever he wants? Can the young guns like Breakker and Reed step up on the biggest stage? Can McIntyre channel his anger into productive violence? Can Logan Paul prove this isn't too big for him? These are the questions that will be answered on November 29th at Survivor Series in San Diego. These are the storylines that will play out inside that demonic structure. These are the moments that will define careers and create legends. And here at SLAMZONE, we're going to be covering every single moment, every development, every twist, every turn. This is what we do. This is why we're here. To help you understand the depth, the psychology, the artistry of professional wrestling. To help you appreciate what these athletes put their bodies through for our entertainment. So I'm asking you one final time, if you've made it this far, if you've been on this journey with me, hit that subscribe button right now. Join the SLAMZONE family. Hit the notification bell so you never miss when we break down the latest news, the latest matches, the latest drama. Like this video if you enjoyed the breakdown. Comment below and tell me your predictions for War Games. Who do you think will win? Will Team Punk overcome the odds, or will Team Vision dominate? What surprises might we see? Will there be betrayals? Will someone get seriously hurt? Share this video with every wrestling fan you know. Your friends need to understand what's happening. They need to be prepared for what's coming. They need to be part of this conversation. Because November 29th is going to be legendary. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be the kind of night that reminds us why we love professional wrestling. The stage is set. The teams are finalized. The tension is at an all-time high. Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, two of the biggest stars in WWE history, are back. CM Punk and Cody Rhodes, the current faces of the company, are fighting for their pride. The Usos are fighting for family. Heyman's army is fighting for dominance. War Games is coming, and it's going to be absolute carnage. This is SLAMZONE, and we'll see you in the next breakdown. Stay passionate, stay loud, and never stop believing in the power of this incredible sport we all love. War Games is coming, and the WWE Universe will never be the same.